Hi, welcome back. I'm Joe. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. Our intuition. If we haven't had a convo regarding the imperativeness of using our intuition, how deeply we can trust our intuition, how our intuition is guiding us everywhere we want to be. It's guiding us towards everything we love, is guiding us towards our passion, our purpose, our calling, our dreams. It's also guiding us away from everything that causes harm, that causes danger, that causes misalignment. And if we haven't had a convo on this very important gift that we have been given, then allow me to apologize. It surprises me rather, every time I have a conversation with someone who questions their intuition. And this has come up a couple times in the last couple weeks. I was sitting with someone who said, but you follow your intuition. You're very intuitive. You're listening to the guidance, like you hear it. I can't hear it, or I'm not that intuitive. No, we are all intuitive. The problem is you may not be listening to the voice that is whispering deep down within. You may be questioning that whisper. So we got to get into it, because our intuition is 101. It is the God within us that is guiding us. It is our source that is meant to go with us, to navigate life. If we're not listening to our intuition, I have to just ask you, what the hell are you doing? I already know you ain't doing nothing if you're not listening to your intuition. And I mean nothing of purpose. You perhaps, if you're not listening to your intuition, you live a life of confusion and you're running into painful spots. It is because you are trying to do things on your own. You are using your thinking mind, trying to rationalize what you think is right, what you think is wrong, where you think you ought to be going, what you think you ought to be doing, instead of simply allowing that internal GPS to guide you exactly where you're meant to be. There is an easier way, y'all, and it is creating stillness so you can hear that whisper within, and then you simply move according to it. Now we're going to get into it, because I love y'all and we need to get this right, because we have a prosperous future that we need to step into, because we have goals to attain, because we have things we need to do. Guess what? Our soul knows it too, and it knows the way. I am not any more intuitive than you. Perhaps the only difference is I trust when I hear that voice speak. I would say I trust it to a fault, but that makes no sense. I trust it with precision. I trust it with all accuracy. And I know on the outside, to perhaps friends and family and maybe even strangers, it might look reckless, because it's like, wait, you are just going based on this quote unquote gut feeling, this quote unquote instinct. You are just going based on what feels light, what feels right in the moment. How can you base your whole life on that? It comes down to this truth. I have tested this theory, and not very long, actually. I've only gotten really good at following my intuition the last few years, but I started really deeply testing this theory about 6 or so years ago. And as I began to just tiptoe, just kind of hear those instincts, hear that whisper within. And then as I began to go out in faith and say, you know what, I'm going to follow this whisper. I'm going to follow this lead. To my surprise, I'm not surprised anymore, but back then, to my surprise, it was leading me to an effortless place. It was connecting me with the very people that I needed to connect with. It was sending me in the direction that I needed to go. One time I was actually in New York and I wanted to see these authors that I have been reading several of their books, and I listened to their podcasts, and they were having a talk in New York City live. And I said, I'm in New York City. I'm going to stay another night and I'm going to go and check them out. Now, I can't recall exactly. This was several years ago, but for whatever reason, I didn't have my phone with me. And I remember saying, you know what? I'm going to follow intuition. I'm going to get off the train. I know the general area of where they're at. I know the hotel they say they're going to be at. I'm going to exit the train and I'm going to allow spirit to guide me. And do you know, as I stepped off of that train onto the busy New York streets, and this was in the middle of the night, I just felt deeply, God, which way am I to be going? And I could actually feel a gentle pull within my spirit. Something was pulling me to the right. So I just, okay, I'm going to the right. And as I started walking to the right, maybe 10 minutes or whatever, then all of a sudden I felt a gentle nudge. Okay, I am to turn to the left. And as I turned to the left, walking down a few more blocks, something just guided me to look up, to start looking up. And as I looked up in that moment, I saw the very hotel that my authors were speaking at. And I actually stood up in their conference when they opened the mic to introduce ourselves, or did we have questions? And my testimony was, I allowed my intuition to guide me here tonight. That was one of the early indications that, yeah, there's something here. There's something to this following your intuition. This is a profound gift. This is probably the biggest gift. I think it is the biggest gift that we were born with, that helps us maneuver, navigate the world. Yeah, I know we want to use our thinking mind, and our thinking mind serves its place. But when we are talking about moving in life, stepping into our purpose, attaining our dreams, serving God, we are to tap in first and foremost with that whisper within us, which knows the way. That whisper within us that is guiding us everywhere we want to be. Oh no, the problem is you don't believe it. When we hear and everyone says, oh, I knew I should have followed my first mind when you made a mistake, after you made a mistake. That is a saying for a reason. Millions of people have understood that when they don't follow their first mind, they are usually met with pain or a brick wall or an undesired outcome. That's where the saying came from. I should have followed my first mind. My first mind told me I shouldn't go. I went and I was in a car accident. My first mind said I should book that trip. I didn't book it. And then the people who did book it met with the people that I needed to meet, yada, yada. You get the point. But that is where it came from. The truth is, following that whisper within is meant to serve us greatly. It is meant to guide us everywhere we are meant to be, everywhere we dream of being. So, yeah, I get a little taken back still when people say, oh no, but you're intuitive. Oh no, but you're really good at it. You know what? Step out of your fear and step into some faith. Test the theory. Test it tomorrow. Wake up and decide you're going to tap in with that voice. And you're going to just say, for the next 24 hours, I'm going to listen to whatever that voice has to say. And I'm only going to do and go where that voice says. If the voice says don't make the call, I'm not going to make the call. If the voice says call that person that I haven't spoken to in 3 years, I'm going to make that call. If the voice says don't go to work today, I'm going to listen to that voice and I'm not going to go into work today. For the next 24 hours, test it for yourself. There is absolutely no lies told. That intuition is your source. It knows the way. It's here to prosper you and not to harm you. I don't know why we just have decided that we know best. Why have we decided that we want to live life difficultly? Where have we decided that we cannot trust the God within us? Where did that come from? I know where it came from. It came from society. It came from our childhood traumas. It's time to unlearn that. We are wasting time if we are not listening to the intuitive messages that we're getting in every moment. I had a huge meeting a couple weeks back, and it's with a big client. I am humbled and I am honored that they have prepared a seat for me literally at their table. And as we were having a dinner meeting, I was, in my head about what I should bring. And so I asked them, what should I bring? What type of dessert? What is your favorite drink? And she literally said, no, don't worry about none of that. None of that. You just bring your presence. And of course, I know, like I'm sure you know, I'm not going empty-handed nowhere. There's something I must bring. So for a few minutes, my thinking mind was trying to rack itself to figure out what I should be bringing. I actually found myself scrolling through her Instagram, like, okay, what type of drink does she like? Can I see anything? And to my surprise, this is how your intuition just shows you everything. I scrolled deep on her page and I was seeing a lot of coffee, a lot of tea. Yeah, I saw, a bottle of champagne that she was promoting. But what I saw as I was looking through her page in the background of her beautiful pictures of herself and of her surroundings were glasses turned upside down, wine glasses laying on the table. Now, this is not pictures that she had in focus. This was just in the background, but my intuition led me to see what was happening in the background. So yes, I see this beautiful woman and I see what she's promoting, but no, my intuition said, look beyond what she's promoting. What's happening in the background? Glasses are upside down. Wine glasses specifically are upside down. So my intuition was telling me, this woman doesn't drink. Look at the glasses. They're upside down. They're not overflowing with alcohol or wine or any other type of, beverage. Her beverage of choice, you can see there's tea, there's water, but something about the wine glasses being empty, and not only empty, but turned upside down just let me believe wine or champagne, other liquor is not what you are to bring this woman. So then I said, okay, God, what about a beautiful cake? Right? So then I started looking through bakeries in LA and, okay, plant-based cakes and where can I find one, last minute. And then I immediately said, wait a minute, I'm using my thinking mind. Let me stop that and let me go within. Because my intuition already has guided me that this woman does not drink. So now let me continue to tap into my soul, my spirit, that whisper. What is it that I ought to bring? And so I just got calm and I just got still. And I'm not kidding. Within a minute, it popped up and it said flowers. And I thought, wow, that's easy. And that's lovely. And that's something my thinking mind wasn't coming up with. My thinking mind was spend a bunch of money on a fabulous cake so you can impress this person. My thinking mind was grab a bottle of expensive, exquisite champagne. No, but my soul was telling me the truth. Flowers. Simple, easy, luxurious, lovely, beautiful, authentic. So I went out to our local market, and I wasn't even thinking at that point what type of flowers. I was already, now I'm tapped in with my soul. I'm going to let my soul guide me. So I go into the beautiful floral section, and I'm picking up flowers that I would love, right? Roses and beautiful baby breaths and lilies. And I'm loving these flowers, and I'm knowing at the end, my soul is going to tell me which bouquets I need to be taking. So I have my hands full with all these beautiful, colorful flowers. And as soon as I turn around, there is a huge wall of nothing but peonies in the most vibrant pinks, vibrant dark pink, light pinks, in between pinks. And I said, there you go. That's the whisper. That's my soul saying, bing, bing, bing. Peonies. It was highlighted. It was set apart from all the other flowers. And as soon as I laid my eyes on it, it was just, that was it. It was laid out, highlighted, displayed, almost screaming from the inside, these are the flowers you get. So I grabbed a few of the peonies, wrapped them up beautiful in paper and a beautiful ribbon, went and met this beautiful couple for dinner. And when I handed her the flowers, oh my goodness, she said, did I tell you I love peonies? And I said, no. And I just immediately, I laughed to myself because I thought that intuition strikes again. That intuition will never, ever lead us astray. Not only were they her favorite, she loved them. She told the chef about them. She told her husband about them. She messaged me the next day and saying how the scent had filled her home and how she loved the way they smelled. All because I released the thinking mind and trusted my soul. Trusted that whisper within. Because that whisper knows best. You can trust it at every point. And I get it. Sometimes what the soul says is daunting. And we don't want to go there. Sometimes the soul will lead us someplace and we're like, no, 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 no. I'm scared to do that. No, 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 no. I don't want to leave that person. No, 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 no. I don't want to venture that way. But here's the thing. If our soul is guiding us there, it is because it knows that's where we'll prosper. When the soul is asking you to release an individual who you love and you care about and you thought this was going to be the person that was going to be in your life forever. And I know that's scary and that's daunting, but if your soul is speaking it, then understand the only way for the soul to prosper you with all the great things that you want and a lot of the things you don't even know you want yet, it is to then release whatever it is the soul is asking you to release. That could be homes, that can be relationships, that can be jobs, that can be beliefs, that can be material items. But we can trust that whisper. And only when we trust that whisper will we ascend to levels that we only dream of. This is what separates the great from the mediocre. The greats trust this whisper. The greats trust themselves. And when we say trust ourselves, we mean trusting our intuition, trusting the God within. The mundane, and I'm sorry, the average individuals, the ones who are just living safe lives in their comfort zones, they don't fuck with it. They don't trust it. When the soul says go internal, go within, you need 6 months of solitude, what do we say? If you're average, you're like, no, I'm not doing it. Nope, not going to do it. I don't understand. I can get there a better way. Okay. Well, your soul is showing you the way. You think you're going to get there another way. Good luck with that. Because we're not fooling anyone. We're only spinning our wheels. We're only destined to repeat the most painful experiences over and over when we are not doing the work the soul is asking us to do. When we are not going to the places our soul is asking us to. When you tap in with spirit, like as deeply as I tap in with spirit, I check in with it now all the time. As I said in the last story, my thinking mind took over for a few minutes, but it wasn't long before the true me was like, what the heck are you doing, girl? There's an easier way. What is your soul saying? Oh, I had to forgive myself, apologize to my soul, and say, I'm sorry, I put you in the background for a few minutes. What do you recommend we bring to this beautiful room we've been invited into? And the soul knew exactly the perfect thing that would set us apart. The thinking mind excludes the soul. That's you. That's the personality. That's you thinking. I mean, that's using your mind, trying to conjure up what you feel other people would enjoy or other people would love, where you feel you should be going. Your soul is telling you what other people want. Your soul is telling you where you need to be going. It's 100% accurate. Your wishy-washy mindset is inaccurate. That's why it leads to destruction. That's why it leads to pain. That's why it leads to non-fulfillment. That's when you bring gifts to people, they don't strike a chord because you were thinking about it. Release the mind, step into the soul. Every time I have gone in the direction where my soul has spoke, even when it felt like it was paralyzing, even when I was terrified to do it, even when there was large amounts of money on the line, and I'm talking about the job that my soul told me to dump. That was crazy. But as soon as I did it, voila, the truth, the magic, the greatness opened up. But it could only open up, it could only reveal itself after the follow, not before. You follow the intuition, and then the magic will be revealed. If you're still afraid to follow that intuition, life is going to be quite difficult. Chances are life is already difficult. Chances are you don't feel life is fair. Chances are you haven't found your purpose. Chances are you don't know what your calling is. Chances are you're confused. Chances are you're doubting things. And here's the thing. When we know the truth, right? Like, if you ever been in a relationship where you're feeling this person, but something is just not quite right. Like, they're good. I like them. I want to really like them, but something is just not 100%. That's your intuition. Your intuition is saying, we got to look at this closer. Your intuition is saying, perhaps there is something that's missing here. Something is not right. Perhaps you need to dig a little deeper. Or perhaps you need to just drop it. But the only one who knows better than us, is that spirit, is that source, is that guidance. It's working, it's active, it's 100% accurate, and I'm here to tell you, you can trust it. If I challenge you, do this for the next 24 hours. Go and do and say and speak only what your soul is asking you to. I guarantee you're going to win tomorrow. I guarantee you. And then you'll grow your faith muscles, because once you see, like, okay, the day worked out swimmingly well. Everything was effortless. I am in joy. I am in peace. I saw the little golden nuggets. Then perhaps you can test it again for the next 24 hours. And before you know it, because you're testing it and you're finding that intuition, that voice within is 100% spot on every time. And it's everything you can trust and lean on and rely on. And you can allow it to take you everywhere around the world, just on it. Then you're on an ascension. Then you are no longer a part of the 99% that are asleep. No. You have stepped into the 1% that are awake, truly awake. You can trust it, friend. Go be great. Go challenge yourself tomorrow. Go wherever that whisper leads you. Thank you for joining this convo. Consider sharing it. Make sure you're liking it, subscribing, and reviewing it. Thank you so much for our 5-star reviews. Keep them coming. Thank you for being here. Until next time, we'll chat again soon.